Alright, well, I guess it's time to go and wreck some ships. Now, I have no idea what's the next big update. I'm still kind of hoping for some new ships in January, but that might not happen in January. Although I'm still very excited for the Tech 3, well, destroyers and cruisers. Primarily cruisers, after all, I am a cruiser pilot, and Tech 3 cruisers would be a very nice, well, I guess a very nice new addition to the game. How will they be implemented? I have no idea, but I am fairly sure that these things will be added to the game at one point. And I'm mentioning the Tech 3 ships because I've seen some comments about them, and I just wanted to share what I expect from these ships. Well, I'm excited for them, but I have no idea how they will work or how will they be implemented in this game. But again, we will see when they are eventually released. Anyway, I know that was a very weird intro for today, but just one of the things that I want to talk about, and one of the things that I'll be talking about in the future. But now let's go back and, well, actually, let's not go back. Let's go and wreck some ships as promised. Now, today I have some, well, we had some pretty good targets, and I'll start with the juicy ones first. We have a Apocalypse Navy. Now, I've had a chance to shoot at maybe like 20-30 of these ships, and the navies are definitely no joke. They have fantastic tank. They can also have some good DPS, but the main thing about navies is their tank. They are very, very, very tanky ships. Even if you don't go with a full-on tank build, they still can possess a fantastic amount of resistance, and they can be quite a tough opponent even for multiple ships. Now, my friend and I here are with Macarials, and our ships are obviously going to be full DPS, and we usually don't have a lot of problems when we go and engage the classic, the average navy build. I mean, usually the builds that we encounter aren't that dangerous in most cases. Although sometimes we do encounter some heavy tanks, and the heavy tanks can be a little bit problematic. Although nothing that we can't handle. Usually we have a response ship for every possible situation. Now we are warping in, and let's see what happens. We were going to the planet first to get the better warp in so that we can land close to the navy. Now, the Apocalypse Navy is usually armor tank, although they also have all of the navies have basically fantastic shield regeneration. That includes the Apocalypse Navy, but primarily that thing is a armor tank. Haven't encountered any shield tank navy Apocalypse yet, but I'm fairly sure there is a bunch of shield tanks out there as well. So yeah, just a matter of time. Just a matter of time until we stumble upon one such ship. Or maybe we already did stumble upon one such ship, I just don't remember it at the time, because again, there has been a lot of ships. And that was a pretty juicy one, 27.7 billion. This is a very interesting build. It seemed like a bait build, but at the same time it isn't. One scrambler, one long range disruptor, a neutralizer, and a web is definitely something that you would use for a bait. But the low slot modules are kind of weird. Not to mention that the Navy had... Hold a second. Did I just see small lasers? Oh my god. Small laser, really? Well, isn't that lovely? Next we have a Raven Striker. And based on the corporation name of that Raven pilot, that's the corp that dropped like 20 dreadnoughts on my relation and failed. So maybe this ship has a good tank or good build? Well, it doesn't seem like it. Oh well, I'll just approach slowly and see what I can do. It is taking some damage though. I actually expected this to be a bait. I mean, whenever there are ships that are fantastic ships that we can use to bait someone. The Raven Striker is one of those ships. The Navy, all of the navies can be fantastic bait ships. Also, the Black Ops ships can also be sign of bait ships. And any heavily armored or heavily shield tanked ship, battleship, can also serve as a bait. And I learned a very interesting trick in deciding, or basically finding out if the ship that we're shooting at is a bait or not. And that trick proved itself to be quite effective. This is something that I started to use very often lately, and so far 100% accuracy. What is the trick? Well, I'll talk about that one more. I'll talk about that another time, since you know it goes a bit in depth on how the overall things within the game work, and I don't want to just spend a minute talking about it because it is definitely a lengthy topic. Well, this Raven is definitely going to be yeeted very soon. Expecting a good kill mail for sure. After all, I also expect a good build as well. So we're about to find out what we destroyed here. Let's take a look at the kill here. 2.8 billion. Oh my god, this is not a good build. Why did you put a shield, adaptive hardener, and a arm? Oh my god, this is not how. What happened with that corp? I thought they knew how to build their ship. Well, I guess not. Well, I guess not. A shield, hardener, and a armor repair. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it a lovely combination? Well, I guess it's the cursed build day today. Cursed build day. We haven't really looked at the builds lately, but fairly sure that I haven't had such a cursed ship in a while. Have to double check that. I haven't really been looking in depth at the builds of all the kills. Usually, you know, just taking a glance at it and deciding based on that, but haven't really spent much time looking at it since there was, you know, I thought they were usually good. Now what do we have here? A Megatron. Well, that was a beautiful warping. Let's quickly weapon scramble the Megatron. Okay, full speed. Well, full speed. Gyro stabilizers, full speed. Well, this Megatron doesn't seem that tanky. And that was actually faster than I expected. Oh my god. Shield booster and armor repair in the cargo hold. I have a bad feeling about that one. But I'm not going to speculate. I'm gonna warp out. And then we will take a look at the build. It better not be a cursed build. It better not be a cursed build. Oh my god, it would be the third ship in a row that had a cursed build today. Not saying I'm surprised, honestly, based on the horrendous builds I've seen online, but when I say horrendous, I mean there are so many horrible builds out there. It just boasts. It is just, oh my, yeah, oh no, it's cursed. It's cursed. But most important thing, they had a warp core stab. Well, that was lovely. Third cursed ship in a row. Anyway, let's go to the next target. What do we have here? We have a Dominix. I remember this one. I actually remember this, Dominix. I warped when I appeared in the system. The Dominix wasn't aligned. I checked, double checked it, and they aligned. So there's a good chance that I'm going to miss the Dominix. And of course, I always forget one important thing. I forgot to equip extra scramblers. Usually I trust the feeling that I get when I see a ship, and my feeling told me to get extra scramblers for this Dominix. Well, I mean, I did fantastic warping. I landed right on top of it, and I managed to get a lock on, and I managed to open fire at it, but I didn't have enough points because I forgot to equip scramblers, and the Dominix warped off. So they have been aligned, and I still managed to technically catch them, but didn't have enough points. This is why I usually fly this ship with 3 scramblers, just so I can catch ships that have a lot of stabs. But who knows, maybe they had like 50 stabs, and you know, even 3 scramblers wouldn't be enough to hold them. But that's fine. You win some, you lose some, or in this case, you miss some. Let's go to the next target. Oh, I remember this one. Well, seems like we have some company again. The usual. Well, the usual. Now, when I talked about bad luck, that also includes moments where, you know, I get a phone call or the internet cuts off at the worst possible moment. And that's been happening very often recently. Every time I'm trying to do something serious, oh look, a phone call. Every time we have company, oh look, my internet goes down and I have to basically swap the internet connections. And then I think last time 2 out of 3 of my internet connections failed, and I had to basically dock and had to do something else until the internet stabilizes. So yeah, definitely kind of risky to fly my ships at any point, especially now when it's winter and when the internet connection knows to be a bit unstable depending on, I guess, the weather. Although the weather isn't that bad, but it's still winter, and usually when it's all wet and when there is raining and snowing, that tends to kind of mess up the internet. But so far I have been managing really well. Now I did mention, I think a couple videos ago, I did mention that I have been swapping the rigs on this ship, and so far I have personally been quite happy with the tank. One thing that I'm not happy with the Tempest is the capacitor. It doesn't last as long as I would like it to last. So I have a goal to basically change the rigs on it, change the engineering rigs even more. I mean, it will be maybe quite a pricey thing that I'll do, but I definitely want to improve the capacitor rigs on this thing. It is very crucial for me that I do that, so just so I can enhance the capacitor even more. Basically, the goal is to have something similar to the Megathron Navy, and that thing, you know, has, I think, one of the better capacitors. I actually forgot which one of the ships that, for which one of my navies has actually the better capacitor, the Apocalypse or the Megathron. I think the Megathron has like the best capacitor, but I'll have to double check that. Kind of forgot, since all of them have about not the same. I know the Tempest has the worst capacitor, but the Gallant ones and then Amar ones have the better capacitor. But we will see. I'll definitely have to double check that when the time is right. Well, that's going to be very soon. Anyway, next we have a random MOA appearing out of the blue. Haven't seen none of these ships in quite a while actually. They are still, I mean, the Moa can technically be a very scary ship. Does have some pretty strong shield resistances. I think it has like a bonus of 20% when you have the skills maxed out. Basically, it is something like a small, like a mini Gila in a way. Although the Gila is based on the Moa, so that's kind of funny. 62 million, not bad. And yeah, this ship actually had a better build than the 3 first kills that we had today. Didn't have a hybrid tank and it had the proper weapon systems installed. Now, one of the ships that I do have but haven't really had the chance to use that often is the Prophecy 2 command. This thing is just nasty. Still working on some of my skills for the Prophecy command, for the Prophecy 2 command, but this thing is honestly very, very scary. Prophecies in general are very terrifying ships, and yeah, I was a bit late. I did click warp on time, but my internet, being my internet, didn't really allow me to warp on time. But nonetheless, my friend did a very good job to eliminate that Cinnabal with a Vexor. That was honestly funny to see a Cinnabal getting wrecked by a Vexor. The Vexor is a very, very nasty little ship. Next, we have 2 bubbles. What are bubbles doing here? I have absolutely no idea. Well, let's first bubble got wrecked and second bubble got wrecked as well. 2 bubbles usually means that there is also a fleet nearby. I mean, there is always a fleet nearby. Maybe, I mean, just maybe time for me to start farming for a super capital. I have no idea. I guess if I had a super capital, that thing would be able to just block the entire region here. And I would probably have one super tanked as I usually do. Oh look, we have a Prophecy that has the Halloween skin, and does also seem like it has a very interesting nanocore. Well, we will see what nanocore they have. Although the Halloween skin is pretty awesome, I would say. Still looking back at the old Halloween days of 2020. Those days were honestly very fun. And let's take a look at the kill. 312 million, actually not a bad Prophecy. Well, when it comes to ESC value, it's pretty decent. Next we have a Covetor with a Illusionary Ghost nanocore. The Illusionary Ghost is... I think I said this like a million times by now, but the Illusionary Ghost nanocore is definitely one of the best looking ones. Although I'm not really a fan of the way how you obtain the core. I mean, it's one of the more I think it's one of the more expensive ones, although I forgot, but the Illusionary Ghost is definitely looks really good. It definitely looks really, really good. So, and 1.5 billion, not bad. It's pretty good value actually for a Covetor 2. A pretty good kill. Let's go to the next one. We have a Cyclone. That's a drone. That's not a Cyclone. That's the Cyclone. Okay. So when it comes to battleships, right now. Well, obviously, right now I'm kind of maining the Tempest fleet and Arcaio. Megatron Navy is good, but I think I will replace it with a Apocalypse Navy. Because I remember someone telling me that the Apocalypse Navy is a bit more tanky. And, you know, it does kind of make sense. But we will see. I still have to compare both of them in order to figure out which one of them is actually going to be tankier, but I think the Apocalypse is definitely a bit more tanky than the Megatron. That's how it should be, but I guess I have to find it out when I have time to do that. And that was a pretty good kill as well. Let's go to the next one. We have a Prophecy, and I am in the Hyperion. This is one of the ships that I used to fly a long time ago. Although now I don't really have much use for it. It is still a pretty solid ship, but I don't really feel like this ship would do well. Well, it would probably do well, but would it do better than my navies? Well, probably not. The navies just offer much more tank and offer much better resistances, although the Hyperion does have some fantastic repairs. But I still prefer the navies when it comes to tank. They're just way tankier than a Hyperion when it comes to the overall resistance. Although this ship is fast and it does get the job done. I mean, don't get me wrong, this ship is still awesome. But the navies, in my case at least, seem to be doing a bit better. Next we have what is this, a Gila? Well, that's lovely, faction cruiser. Always nice to shoot at a faction cruiser. Let's quickly delete this ship. You know, it's funny, because I think the only faction cruiser that I don't really use besides the Ashmum is the Gila. Although the Gila is a very good ship. It is able to be tanky, and it is also capable to have some pretty nasty DPS to go along with the tank. It is definitely a ship that I should start flying in one way or the other, and just because of the skills that I have for it, should be maxed out for the Gila. 1.2 billion, and this looked like a DPS Gila. Alright, not bad. Not bad. Let's go to the next kill. We have a Apocalypse Navy. Navy, that's a very weird navy. Apocalypse Striker. And well, a lot of players still do prefer the Apocalypse Striker over the Navy. Although, honestly, I mean, it's up to, I guess, your skill. If you have skills for the Navy, go for the Navy. If you have skills for this one, then go for this one. Although in the end, it's down to player preference. And I also love how this Navy made me the primary target. And that's a good thing, because I am built for taking damage. Well, obviously, I mean, I have a yellow hardener, which means that the DPS coming from the Apocalypse Navy will be drastically reduced from the reactive hardener, and that one booster is more than enough to maintain the shield of this ship. I'm not taking much damage. I'm not taking any damage actually. Well, I'm taking damage, but it's mosquito bites, as I like to joke around. Obviously not doing anything to the shield. And I can keep this up for quite a while actually, since I have a Nosferatu, and I can technically maintain the ship in this state for about 5 minutes. And you know, for most cases, maybe 5 minutes would be enough. Maybe it is, but in my case, from my experience, 5 minutes of capacity runtime is not enough. And of course, there's also the trick where you can rely on the passive recharge on this ship. You can actually rely on a passive recharge on this ship with this build, since it has so much resistance. You can passively tank it at about 25-30% shield, but it is risky. Well, risky, not risky, just a emergency thing that I can rely on when it comes to the Tempest Fleet or Tempest Navy. Well, both are actually the same thing, but the Tempest Fleet is the more accurate name. 3.5 billion, not bad, decent kill, I'll take it, no complaints from me. After all, a apocalypse kill is a apocalypse kill, and this seems to be a high-sec PvE apocalypse with a micro wardrift. In any case, a solid kill. Well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. It was a bit of a short run today, but more is definitely going to be coming in the upcoming days. And well, with that being said, if you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, play safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.